A viral video from a Bay Area TikTok influencer appears to have cost a San Francisco restaurant owner his job. Kiss Cafe in Hayes Valley is being bombarded with negative reviews online after a woman shared a tearful video about a rude interaction she claims she had at that restaurant.
I don't know if I'm gonna post this video because I'm still shaking and I feel so frazzled, but I just left a restaurant collaboration crying.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about a TikToker who inadvertently got an entire restaurant shut down.
Jeez, that was dramatic.
Okay, so this is Carla. She is a TikTok foodie influencer from the San Francisco Bay Area. She shares pretty standard stuff, the restaurant reviews, recipes, and the occasional day in my life videos. And just a couple weeks ago, when all of this went down, she was still considered a micro influencer like myself. Actually, I don't even think I'm an influencer. I'm just somebody who likes to chat online.
No, that's code for unemployed.
Anywho, at the time she was sitting at around 15,000 followers on TikTok, but now that has ballooned to over 400,000.
I had a TikTok collab with a new restaurant in Hayes Valley that I was really excited for. I had it planned since last week. My reservation was at 5:30, but I went a little early at 5:10, so it was just me. My husband was going to meet me there.
Okay, from what I've gathered, Carla is the one who initially reached out to the cafe about the collaboration. And that's not very unusual. Smaller influencers and creators, we really have to hustle to get those collaborations, brand deals, sponsorships. So she was just doing her due diligence and making the first move. So she walked in and she was greeted by the host, who was the same person a couple weeks prior she had set up the collab with over Instagram. Now, whether this was the other co-owner or just the host, I don't know.
$3.10 an hour, I don't know nothing, I don't have to.
So everything seemed fine at first. He was obviously expecting her. She began taking some shots of the inside of the restaurant. He showed her to the little table that they had waiting for her. And then this happened.
I'm continuing to film the setup in the kitchen and stuff because it's really cute, but I hear the host and this other guy talking. And this other guy is behind the counter, so it's a small restaurant. He's like 2 or 3 feet away from me, so I can hear everything they're saying. I know that they're talking about me because I can hear them saying TikTok, views, followers, so I start listening in.
So this new man who she hasn't seen before is questioning the host on who she is, what her TikTok is about, how many followers she has, and he's seeming kind of angry or at least upset while he's doing this.
And this guy pulls up my TikTok and says that I have 15,000 followers and I have some videos have millions of views, whatever, and this guy is not happy about it. He was saying that I have too little followers and that this was a mistake.
He even pulled up her Instagram, which doesn't have that many followers on there. It's about 1,300 because that is her personal Instagram that's not used for her foodie influencing or anything like that. Now, remember, this is happening feet away from her. They're having this conversation to each other about her, but not with her. And that just makes it even more messed up.
Something to say to me, they should say it to my face.
At this point, I am turning red because I'm so embarrassed and I feel really disrespected, but the new guy comes to me and I introduce myself, I shake his hand, and I'm telling him that I'm still excited about this collab. Immediately he says, "Did you do any research on this restaurant? Do you know what we do? Do you know who we are?"
I find this really funny that he accused her of doing no research on the restaurant, considering he did zero research on her, or at the very least did not communicate with his staff or his co-owner on who he wanted there to help promote the restaurant.
Big mistake. Big. Huge.
Now, they were a very new restaurant. They had only been open for a few months at this point. I think they opened in early May of this year. So you think he would be excited to be getting some influencers, getting his restaurant out there, even if she is considered a micro-influencer?
Yeah, you would think so.
Now, obviously, that wasn't the case.
I tell him that you guys don't have a website, but I know you are a wine bar and you serve smaller bites. He is smirking while he's listening to me and saying that I didn't do any research and that he thinks that there's been some miscommunication. He asks for my TikTok, which clearly you've done no research about me as well. And he starts scrolling through and playing my TikToks on full volume at the restaurant. And not even my page, just the page that comes up when you search my name. After scrolling like 2 times, he says to me that he doesn't think my videos are at the level at which he wants his restaurant to be represented. He goes on to say that my audience and my followers are not the kind of people that are going to be at his restaurant.
Oh, snap.
It seemed like he was insinuating that my followers would not be able to afford to eat at this restaurant. Then he says, not to be snobby, but do you know who I am?
No.
Apparently he's some sort of award winner in food, the Beard Award. I don't even know. Personally, I didn't even bother looking it up. I don't really care.
Sorry. Well, not really.
And then he even brings up his daughter, who has over 600,000 followers, and says how she isn't at the same level as even his daughter. Which, like, why weren't you getting your daughter to promote the restaurant then? I mean, he may have. She may have. I didn't do a deep dive into hers. But still, you know, that's kind of the first thing that I think of.
At this point, I'm crying and I want to get out, so I tell him that I'm no longer interested in doing the collab. I tell him that I felt disrespected because they were talking about me right in front of me and belittling my work. And he tells me that he was offended because I came in and didn't introduce myself to him.
I mean, she had never seen you before. How is she supposed to know who you were? And if you weren't like in the immediate vicinity, if you were in the kitchen or something like that, what do you expect her to do? Go wandering around your restaurant? And plus that doesn't feel like how that normally works. I always feel like the chef comes out and introduces himself or the owner or whatever, because they're generally not right there.
Rare enough for you?
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, that's why I'm in therapy. I'm so sorry.
Now at this point it's 5:30. Her husband shows up because he was supposed to be her +1 for this collab, and she decides, we're done, I'm leaving, we're not going to do this anymore. So when she gets home, she makes this post and she puts it on TikTok. Now when she did this, as you can see from the clips that I have put in here, she did not name any names or point out the restaurant that it was. Now the internet being the internet, of course they found the restaurant.
The internet is not the nicest of places.
But I don't think it had anything to do with what she said. I think it had to do with the fact that the man's daughter actually commented on her TikTok, giving support and apologizing for his behavior. Not only did she comment on Carla's video, but she also made a TikTok herself commenting on the situation.
What happened to her was not okay, and within hours, as soon as I saw the video, I knew exactly who it was about. I called my dad, his business partner, and I reached out to her immediately after she shared it to have him apologize in person, because nobody deserves to be treated that way, and I wanted her to know that she has my support. As a daughter of immigrant parents, I've spent my whole life navigating these dynamics, trying to educate him on regulating his emotions and words, which doesn't excuse anything, but this isn't the first time I felt hurt by his actions and how he has treated people.
Now, very quickly afterwards, the restaurant posted onto their Instagram apologizing and announcing that he will be stepping back as co-owner of the restaurant. Now, they also posted a personal apology from Luke Sung, which is the name of the man who confronted her and belittled her and acted like she wasn't important enough to review his restaurant. It seems like a lot of people online, including myself, think that this apology wasn't written by him. But besides that fact, they also announced that they would be closing down, and it seemed like it was going to be temporary at first, but then it turned out to be permanent. I guess they didn't think that it would survive the flood of now hate comments and people review bombing, which when I personally went to Yelp and Google, I only saw a few reviews that kind of looked like it was from people who had never actually been there. But I mean, maybe they deleted a lot of them. That I don't know.
In an hour, I don't know nothing. I don't have to.
I don't really think it was necessary to completely close the place down because there were people who worked there and were planning on making that their livelihood. And so I do think that's kind of messed up. But I mean, I guess if they just thought it wouldn't survive, it was just time to move on.
Well, I think that was an overreaction.
But I guess I just want to point out that Carla did not insist on this. In fact, again, she tried to just say this just to give other micro influencers support. Like, hey, you need to stand up for yourself. This stuff does happen, but it's okay. You can move on.
It's a rare blood disease. Stickitotomoniosis.
The owners of the restaurant made the decision to close down themselves. It had nothing to do with Carla pushing for this to happen. She just wanted to put her story out there. And again, as I said before, she really tried to keep it anonymous.
Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Heroin Anonymous.
Now, up until the last couple days, this is kind of where the story ended. Until a few days ago, an article was posted by the San Francisco Standard of an interview with Luke Sung.
This is gonna be good.
So if you're expecting to hear a lot of remorse for how all of this went down from him, you're going to be very disappointed.
Not surprising.
Okay, so I do actually encourage you to go read the whole article, but I am going to go over a few of the questions that interest me. Okay, so from this question, we can now confirm that the person she was talking to was the other co-owner of the restaurant. And what annoys me about this is how he's upset that she didn't introduce herself to him, which is just confirming what she says. Everything in this really confirms what she said went down, how it went down.
So, I told you so.
But she didn't introduce herself to him. She actually didn't know who he was. And he says, my high expectation for professionalism has failed me again and again. And it just brings disappointment.
She seems snobby.
So he's claiming that it was unprofessional of her to not know who he was, which just sounds pretentious. Again, right here, he says he didn't want to be misrepresented by someone who doesn't understand the difference between Atlantic salmon and king salmon. And then when he's talking about when he was actually talking to her, he said he feels like he was saying to her a lot, do you know? And that she was intimidated, which he said he could understand, which again is just reiterating that he was like, yeah, of course you're intimidated by me. I'm amazing.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
And here, yet again, he is assuming that she does not understand the time and energy it takes into making the food. And not only making the food, but the restaurant, the ambiance, everything. He's just assuming that she has no care about any of that. And the little bit of research that I did into her TikTok, she does. She's a foodie. She seems to really enjoy that, but she's not just like a pompous asshole about it, which seems to be the only thing he cares about. Okay, so this is just what I wanted to talk about. When it came to that article, please go read it yourselves so you can get the full picture. But I will say there were some questions in there. Like, I can tell he has a lot of love and passion for what he does. And he's probably been through a lot of crap in his life. But that doesn't excuse how he treated her, nor does it excuse the mentality of, yeah, you climbed your way to the top, but you pulled the ladder up.
I said what I said,
As
and
always.
I'm not changing on it, okay? I said what I said. It ain't changing over.
Now, I thought that was going to be the end of the video, but when I was getting some screenshots for his interview, I actually saw that the restaurant has now reopened under Bosk. It's no longer co-owned by Luke's son. It's just Eric Lynn now who's the owner of it, and it's still a wine bar. I'm not too sure what else they do, but it very quietly opened at the beginning of the week. He's hoping that this is like a fresh start for the restaurant and it's not going to have all this negativity surrounding it anymore. Anyway, I wish him the best of luck. I hope the restaurant does well. I don't think that this incident really should have shut down the entire restaurant. So I hope a lot of the original workers are getting to get their jobs back. Because, you know, in this economy, losing your job it sucks. So I really hope the best for all of them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. That's all I have for this video. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah.